Why are governments across Europe suddenly handing out survival manuals? From 72-hour kits to 10-day preparedness plans, emergency brochures are now making a comeback. Hello and welcome back to episode 11 of the Prepper Network podcast. Today your hosts are Frank and Jim.
Okay, Jim, what's going on? The whole of Europe is in uproar. Everybody's getting these manuals in the post, emergency 72-hour survival kits and how to survive this and survive that. What is going on? What is the sudden interest in all of European countries with the emergency manuals? Any answers at all? Jim, any ideas?
Yeah. Well, as a Swede, I'm the wrong person to ask because we're like in version 15 or something on our brochure. I think
Yeah.
it's more like we talked earlier about the 72 hours that were proposed by the European Commission. But these brochures with home information about home preparedness and civil defense and the military defense and stuff like that, we've had them in Sweden since I think it's like the 50s. So straight after the Second World War. But I think also that these brochures that we've had and possibly some other countries, I don't know, they've found new life now. And our latest, we had like 20 years or something when they weren't sent out here. But then there was a new version in 2019 that was sent out, and then another one that was updated in 2024. And I think the ones before that was in like the phone book.
Yeah, the
Uh,
one we had here is from 1963 in Ireland, and the headline on it says "Survival in a Nuclear War: Advice on Protecting in the Home and on the Farm." That's from 1963, and it's got an Irish. Uh, it's got a drawing of a nuclear bomb, picture of the world being destroyed, and it kind of says where to go in the emergency. And I can go through this. So this is really funny when you look back at it in our day, and you look back on the way they were thinking, the way the Irish. This is only from the Irish point of view now because we didn't join the EEC until the free market until 1972,
yeah.
and so all of that time it was basically farms, and we were a pretty poor country back in the 60s and 70s, and so what they generally tell people to do. Go to the farm with the local farmer and stay in the middle room in his house.
Oh,
That's the advice from our government.
well,
What about the farmer? Sure, he doesn't care. He's loads of milk and loads
uh,
of cows. He
yeah,
got
I mean, it
have a party.
could be worse advice.
Well, that's like basically what it says. I'm reading it here. This is an official booklet. Now, I had
Yeah.
it out with somebody already. I was signed by the president as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
cool. So I found the Wikipedia page for the Swedish brochure, and the first edition came in 1943.
during the war.
Yes, and it was 16 pages long. And then so we had them. We had new versions. We had 43. We had
But as you said as well,
1952.
Sweden wasn't invaded, but you were on friendly terms with the Nazis at the time. So you weren't
Um,
technically you were like Ireland. We were a neutral country, but we
yeah.
were
So
friendly. But we were leaning towards the English and to the Americans.
yes. So pretty much the same with Sweden, and
The
also we were
Allies.
kind of in the middle because we had Norway on our
It's
western
your Sandwich, yeah,
border, and we had Finland on our eastern, and so we
Russia.
had the Soviets attacking Finland, and we had the Germans attacking.
Did the Russians attack Finland during
Yes,
World War Two?
they had the two wars. They had
That's before they joined. That's after they left the Nazis and they joined the Allies.
so no, so the it's called the Finnish Winter War, and then the
Yes,
continuing war.
which is
Continue,
one of the
yeah.
worst winters apparently in 1942 and
Yeah,
mad.
I
Was it 42
think
or
I
44?
think Finland kind of allied with the Germans because of the Soviets attacking them. So
Yes.
it was a weird time, and I'm sure we have Finnish listeners that could give us more information about this. It could be an interesting future episode. But if I'm continuing with this Swedish booklet or brochure, if war comes, then we had it 1943, 1952, 1961.
These are all the editions, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then we had it from the 70s. They put them in the phone book, and
Yes. Good idea.
it was 1978. It was a new version. 1983, it was 39 pages. And then it was 1987, 1989, 1991.
Cold War start or finishes there,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then it was no more
40.
brochure until 2018.
What came back in 2018 that
So
drew
that's
their attention to it?
2018. That is 4 years after the invasion of the first invasion of
Crimea.
Ukraine. So
Uh-huh.
Crimea, I would say
Yes.
that was what kicked it off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my guess at least. And then we had the latest one in 2024, and now in 2026 we've had the same one but for businesses.
Yeah, at 2 years upgraded, yeah.
So and I have done a run through of the Swedish brochure. And it's posted in 21 posts in Prepping Europe, and you can find it in, what's it called? Selected? No, you can find.
Or we can put a link up on your we can
Yeah,
put
we
a
can
link
put a
up on
link
your
up, but
website
it's
on the Facebook page, and I'll also put on my page, and so will,
yeah.
Lewis.
So
We can put a
so
link up as we discuss them per week.
so you can find them in the easy accessible posts in Prepping Europe, and we can link to them from other
Yeah,
places
I'll do that
as
right
well.
now.
Uh, and so there is one post for I've made chapters. Some of them are from the booklet, and some of them I collected a few and I rearranged a bit. But what we are doing now in the podcast, this episode, we are going to talk a little bit about this brochure and other brochures that are booklets that exist on the topic, and how different countries have gone about making them, and what's the feel of them, what's the message. And then we will make future episodes where we will dive deeper into different topics and yeah, stuff that's common and not common in them.
Find the common denominators is what you're trying to say, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly, and where they differ, and if some brochures are in some way unique with something.
Yes.
So what I have found that are current, I know there are older brochures. I know you, Frank, sent me one from the UK that was published in 2000. That seems to not be the latest one. There are a website instead now. So I have found from Sweden, of course, and then I've found from Germany, Estonia, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and the UK. So there could be others, but these are the ones that I've found. And I can't say I've picked every one of them apart, but I've at least read through, like, shallowly, all of them.
Yeah. What I've done in that case where, like, the English one, it's only on a website, so I tend to print all of these out, so
Yeah.
I have a hard copy, but I generally download the PDF side or 2, an external hard drive, which is where I have all of these links, because God knows if we have no access to computers or whatever, I still have the hard drive, and I
Yeah.
should be able to get I should and access it, but, it's like one of them prepper that prepper, hard drive that we were talking about lately. We might decide to build our own one because, seem to be fairly easy to do, and they're a nice thing to have.
Yeah,
So, a
the internet in a box.
Wi-Fi enabled internet in the box with the hard drive, 2 terabyte, and a power supply on it, and you
Yeah.
can access any phone, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it seems really, really, you can buy them, but it seems like it should be really easy to make them
Should be,
with
yeah,
like a
it's
Raspberry
fairly
Pi and a small memory card, or SSD card, and
on that
some other
topic,
stuff.
just in case on that topic, if people are listening and they know exactly what we're talking about, if you have any recommendations on these people, or on these devices, if you don't mind coming back with us in the comments and give us any heads up that we might need, if you have any additions that you think that we might add to them, or we put in the Google Maps, Wikipedia, I think I have Wikipedia downloaded twice just in case I did it wrong. I mean, that took up a lot of space, and all the PDFs that I have there, I have hundreds of PDF files that if that happened to my hard drive, that's why I have it on an external one. I've also got them on a laptop, which is dead, and I haven't got it fixed yet. So that's really knocked me for six. It's my second computer that went down. So for that reason, I'm doing it this way. So
Yeah.
it should be interesting what comes out of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's kinda
I just let people know if they have any ideas and to help us along on this particular one. It's great getting knowledge from everybody. Share the wealth is what we say.
yes, and it would be really cool to make, like, a standardized setup of software for it
European
that
version that would have all our
is
contacts.
suitable for European conditions, because you can
Right.
buy these, and I saw the one called Preparedness. I think I shared
That's
it
the one.
in the
That's
group,
the one.
but that's American. So you have a lot of
Yeah.
American stuff like the National
But I
Oceanographic
also
and
noticed that on that prepper disc, and I did mention that there was one site that was advertising, and you even mentioned it to me earlier. You said, "Oscar, that can't be right. It's very cheap." It turned out that the site was a bogus one. So
oh yeah,
if somebody piggybacked it on to him and you would have been sending money gone to wherever, you would get nothing back in return. But I did
yeah,
find the main site, and the main site was about $199. North American maps, so that's not really much good over here to us. All the spelling was American and everything else was American, the usual stuff that we just ignore here because it's there we're metric and they're imperial. So that kind of stuff. I got
yeah,
a gallon of fuel here, bud. How much is in a bleeding gallon? That's what it's going through my head. How much is in a gallon? 2.33 liters. There you go. Really
yeah,
mess up our heads.
yeah. Let's go metric all the way.
Oh, yeah. The only reason
No,
they
but
don't go metric is because they don't want to do what we do. They don't, "Oh, no,
yeah.
we're not gonna do that."
Yeah, and they
Tomatoes,
kind
tomato.
of I mean, they are metric. I mean, I think the American imperial units are, most of them are defined in metric.
Yeah.
So so so
So
they
it was so
are
much
already on the
easier.
metric, and engineering is on metric and science is on metric. So
What
yeah.
you know about the mission to Mars at one of the space,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
they had their calculations done in, Imperial,
yeah.
and when it hit Mars, it kept going, like, it just banged into it.
Yeah,
Oops. The European Space Agency does everything, in metric.
yeah,
So, metric is so much easier. I mean, it's so easy, and it's easy to
yeah.
remember. Fahrenheit, I can never figure it out. "Oh, there's
No.
110 degrees Fahrenheit." Well, I don't know what that is.
No, sorry.
It's hot.
0 is pretty cold, and
Here
100
for us,
is
it's
pretty
cold.
hot.
32 Fahrenheit is 0. If water
I don't.
freezes, it's 0,
Yeah,
It
it's
boils at
really
100 degrees Celsius. What's the temperature of boiling water in,
oh,
in Fahrenheit?
in Fahrenheit. I don't know.
I
It's
don't know,
weird. It's weird,
but
and
I know
it's no, it scrambles my brain.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It messes with me as well. I get, "Oh, geez, why don't they just get with the program?" Canada is fine. They're all on our side. They're grand.
Yeah,
But a mix of anyway,
yeah,
that's why we need our own system because
yes.
if
So
we have
if
our
we
own
could,
system, we'll do it and we'll have
yeah,
our
and
country what's needed.
if we could somehow make like an open source or a standardized way for us in Europe to have this that is updated continuously, so you
Mhm.
just plug it into you give it access to internet, and then
Yes.
it will
Master
automatically
drive.
update. That would be amazing, and that you can up if we have like some place where we can have like an our own like open source code
That
for
would
it.
update every month or so, any critical information, update the system. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it would
I
be really cool. Would be really cool.
I work for an engineering company that does exactly that, and it messes with people. It messes with me. It's because a lot of people out there don't have internet, and I mean, I was in a house there lately. Our software system update is on 300, and I rocked up to the house, it was 002.
Oh,
Oh, we could s we put the picture up to show all the lads, "Look at this, look how old the software is. What's wrong with
yeah,
it?" The man says to them. It hasn't connected in 10 years, so it's not getting any information. So it was a novel one for us because we'd go back to basics on it.
yeah.
Anyway.
And we could actually, so now in this episode the main topic is the brochures, the booklets. We could
Mhm.
actually in this, if we have this internet in the box, we could we could have specific preparedness information in it. So these booklets would be redundant, really.
Correct. Actually, that
The-
would be a thing that the government would probably jump on us and say, "Oh, hang on, lads, we could do some kind of thing in unison with you or in partnership, and all they have to do is upload it to us." Every household in Europe gets one of these boxes that we just get 20% commission on.
yeah, that would be cool. Uh,
That would be okay. I can
yeah.
retire tomorrow.
So before we kicked off this episode today, I did a little summary of these as accurately as I could for these booklets and brochures. Some of them are sent out by mail, like snail mail, real mail, paper mail to households, and some are only digital.
I love the paper ones.
Yeah, the paper ones are nice, and I think they get read more. But some are PDFs and some are just on websites, and so it was a bit hard, but I think I managed to summarize them a bit. So what I did was I looked at what is the stated least days you as a private citizen are expected to be able to sustain your own living without external support. That's without access to the banking system, access to shopping, to electric power, like anything. Just you at home with no power, no water. How long are you supposed to at least be able to manage? So
Yeah.
what I found was that most had just copied these 72 hours. Norway, Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Belgium, Netherlands, and United Kingdom all had a minimum of 72 hours, 3 days.
Yeah, and we
Uh,
said I was explaining what the term 72 hours meant and where did it come from, because I got asked that before, and it was originally brought in by the Americans during the Vietnam War, where the fighter pilots had 3-day kits. They weren't if you crash and you're out for more than 3 days, the chances are you're either dead or you're gonna be killed within that 3 days. That's where the standard with them came from, and it left weight category, the whole lot of that as a level instead of saying you're going to be flying for 5 days or 3 days or 1 day. 3 days was standard back in the 60s. And I think the rest of the world just said, okay, that sounds about right. We'll just follow that. And it
uh,
does sound about right. 72 hours is a mediocre number and it is about right.
yeah, and we talked about it in a previous episode, and then we concluded that 72 hours is a good start because if you prepare for 72 hours, you have to think about pretty much everything, and and you can survive for way longer. If you've thought about everything from like sanitation to water and food and heat and stuff like that, then you can survive for way longer than 72 hours. So most seems to have put the lower level there. I know some had I think it was Poland that had like at least that, but they wanted more. And I know Sweden had this 72 hours in the brochure 2018, but then now in our new brochure, the 2024, and also Estonia, they have upped it to 7 days, so 1 week. And as far as I've heard, the reason for this week, it's like if people can come back to work for 1 week, if everything is down, you have a pretty good chance of sorting things out. If people stop coming to work because they have no food and they are freezing and their children, they are afraid for their children and stuff like that, then everything stops. I mean, people need to come into work, and if you give the system like 7 days or like 1 week, then sure you have a way better chance of fixing broken stuff. But the highest expected survival, no, or what should we say, the
Expectation.
expectation of on the citizen is put on by Germany. And they
Uh-huh.
say no less than 10 days. So they upped it 3 days more than Sweden and Estonia.
So do you think
So
when they say no less than 10 days, they mean that it's going to take their government
yeah,
response, more than 10 days to get to them or about 10 days?
no, I don't think so. I think I don't know exactly
Means
the
look out for
wording
yourself
if
for
it's
10
no
days.
less than
You
10
should
days,
come back.
but 10 days
Mm.
is the number that I found. But I think that uh, I think they just were a bit more. They dared to put 10 days. I mean, I think there was a lot of people here that would say you should say 1 month.
And these are official figures, are they,
These
from
are
the Germans?
official. You can do while I talk, you can do a quick Google and see for the 10 days in Germany, but that's what I found.
Yeah. And any particular reason to have the 10 days?
I don't remember. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna have just this very quick check here in my
Cautionary,
notes.
just in case of war, do you think? Because I think, this was discussed in the EU Parliament a couple of weeks ago about possibility of Germany going to war is not very high on the agenda because they don't have the subscription for starters, and if they went to compulsory subscription for people over 18 and under
Yeah.
50, you're
In
looking at 68% non-German residents. 68% are were not born in Germany. So that means that's 37% left that can be conscribed, and that is not a huge amount
I'm
because
I'm
the
actually
birth
not
rate has fallen.
sure. I'm actually not sure about that because if you go the I don't know about the German rules, but in Sweden, you only have like a very small part that would be used for the military service, but everybody between
Home guard.
16 and 74, I think, are do have civilian duties,
The
and
home
that
guard, yeah.
and no, no,
Great.
not only home guard. Home guard is military. But other stuff like everything else that needs to be done, and
Mm.
you don't have to be a Swedish
Logistics.
citizen. You only have to reside in Sweden. So everyone that is in Sweden when it happens, they are by law mandated to help out and
You said
perform civil
everybody
duties.
is the
So if we have like an Irish exchange student is here, and we have this heightened state of alert. Don't know what it's called in English.
yeah,
I don't
heightened
remember.
state of alert works, yeah.
Then they will be by law. By law, they have duties for the civil defense.
There's your combat gear, change into that now, off you
Uh,
go, throw off that headgear that you're wearing, and off you go into the trenches for your logistics,
it's
driving a
but
truck or
it's more like
loading
it
the
would it
ammunition.
yeah, it would be probably more like helping out with in some ways in healthcare or in childcare or in like
Don't
food
mention childcare because we
management
have no items there.
or garbage, or I mean there's a lot of stuff that's gotta work. So
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 basically,
s-
the world just keeps turning and the guys doing their job on whatever it is they're doing,
yeah.
keep going.
So what German is, I'm looking at my notes here, so I'm not looking directly at the brochure because this information is taken from German, and my German is rusty, to say the
Yeah,
least.
ich sprechen Sie die
Yeah, so it's my notes says like this. Ideally, citizens should be able to provide for themselves for 10 days, though a 3-day supply is a helpful starting point. So it's a should on the 10 days. I think that's good. I think the should be way more for all of these. I think the should be at least a month, probably more.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I
looking for
think.
German one there, I'm trying to find it.
So that was the first
Yeah,
thing I
yeah,
did. And the second thing I did was I looked at what's the tone of these publications. Is it like lighthearted? Is it like very focused on very practical things, or is it really serious? Is it really serious?
I'm looking at here right now, yeah. So it's they're really highlighting Ukraine as a big federal office of civil protection. 3 years of war with Ukraine, you know, they're keeping a very close eye because if Ukraine was overcome tomorrow morning, it's quite possible Russia might say, "Oh, we just keep going to Germany because they're weak at the minute." And
Yeah.
plus Germany bet us the last time, so we'll just go in and well, actually they didn't. No, Russia won the last time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got
So
my history wrong.
And I also checked what is the worst case scenario that is mentioned. So I tried to compare these, and most have armed conflict in some way as the worst case scenario that is stated, like Germany, Sweden, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and the Netherlands all have in some form, they are talking about armed conflict in some form. They are maybe choosing their words differently, but they are all, that's this is what you need to prepare for. That's the worst case. But then we have like Norway and United Kingdom, where the worst case that I've found is fires. Then
I
uh,
find it hard to believe in Norway that fire is all right.
so and then, but also I think if I not don't remember wrong, I think there is stated in the Norwegian brochure that there is a lot of nuclear powered naval
Okay.
ships outside. So something in that way is mentioned, I think. But then we have one that stands out really, and that's Latvia. Because Latvia, worst case scenario and the information, I think we're gonna dive into this in some later episode
We can do
because
it now.
it's no, we'll stay. We need to keep them keep them waiting for a bit, I think, and I think Lewis will want to be in on it because Lewis is out having pizza.
It was
So
burnt the pizza earlier, people, just in case you're wondering, and he's gone out to get another one, and now he'll be with us shortly after he's redeemed pizza. Okay, we just told
yeah,
that
but
to him,
I think also we need to have a read up on it a
and he
bit.
broke the pasta when he was cooking the pasta,
No, the Italian no, broke the pasta. No, but
putting
but
pineapple on it.
what Latvia has is how to resist in occupied territory. That's the worst case scenario. And that's way, I mean, we have in Sweden, we have it's stated like several times in the brochure, and then in all of the brochure, it says that every information about Sweden giving up is false. So I mean that is kind of close to the how to resist in occupied territory because for a long time, now we're in NATO, so it's a bit different. But earlier there was something they taught our military taught something called the free war. So we would meet the Russians in the Baltic Sea with our fighter jets, and we would pretty much destroy as much as we could until we had no more fighter jets. And our navy would meet them, and when the larger naval ships were done for, they would come closer, and then we would have our coastal part of the navies and our Swedish Marines that would take on the Soviets or Soviets when this was a thing, until they were expended. And then pretty much it was expected that they would get a foothold in Sweden, and and
Is
we would
Sweden
not have
strategic
like a
advantage?
centralized, it would be guerrilla warfare. They taught guerrilla warfare. I mean, they taught. I mean, there were things sunk in lakes to be picked up. I'm sure they are still there stuff, and there were explosives prepared on bridges and stuff like that in peacetime. It was, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of this stuff is still there. And there were also like a secret resistance movement that was set up in advance. So there were people that spent like their entire work life that had orders for doing like resistance and militia work in case it happened. So they were like sleeper agents at home. So very, very much on this
On the radar? I could see. I'm looking
expecting
at
to be
a
occupied.
thing of Sweden here, the map of Sweden at the moment, and yes, if I was Russian, I think Sweden would be absolutely, because you have access to. You got to go through Copenhagen and the Strait there, and then the Kiel Canal is off limits. You got to go through the North Sea. So to get out, you need Sweden, ideally. Gothenburg, yeah, it used to be a lovely city. It's gone to hell now, I think. But yeah, I could see where it's a huge asset if Sweden was taken, more so than Norway. Would you agree? If you're looking at your own map there, that's what I'm
I
looking at.
think I think that it's a bit different now that when we're in NATO, but if you look at it from like a Cold War perspective, if you have Sweden and especially if you have Gotland and Denmark, then they had a free passage out into the Atlantic from both that direction and from the north outside of Norway.
Yeah, I came through the Kiel Canal there many years. I can't remember exactly. Kiel Canal shoots off left of Hamburg, I think. I'm not sure.
I
Oh,
don't
there it is.
know. I don't
I
know.
got it. I got it. It's a beautiful part of the world, all right, and cold. If I remember correctly, we had a lot of weather on deck on the ships that we were traveling on, and we'd spend half the day with a hammer in our hand breaking the ice, horizontal
Yeah.
ice off of us, and we thought it was great fun. But yeah, Gotland would definitely be a target. Easy. Yeah, that would be. I'm sure it's a target as it is. I think there's plenty of activity with Russian submarines up there anyway, as it stands.
They usually call Gotland like our stationary aircraft carrier.
Yes, like the USS Great Britain for the Americans, same thing.
Pretty
It's a
much.
it's landing carrier, yeah,
Yeah.
biggest
So
island.
because of the geographical location, but Latvia has how to resist in occupied territory, and I think we need to dive pretty deep into this one later because I think it's really interesting. I think we I th I know some of these. I don't know if it's Poland or if some of the Baltic ones. They have actually taken a lot of like openly, I think collaborated with the Ukrainians when doing the brochures. So we're gonna have to look at that later. But I think there was some other stuff that stood out to me actually, and that is like for United Kingdom and for Belgium, I think, and possibly Denmark and Norway. The focus of the brochures, I mean, like the information on what you should keep at home and stuff like that, like the home preparedness. I think it's is pretty similar across the board. But what differs is the explanation on why and
Yeah,
information about what to do in what situations and uh, so like our brochure and some of the ones they are like a significant part of them is leaning on to the armed conflict and military side,
yeah, the
but
German one here now has protecting yourself from extreme and heavy heat and snowfall, explosion in your area, the recommendations for hazardous situations, for
yeah,
nuclear power station meltdown or whatever. That's where they're going.
yeah,
Snow disasters, avalanche, heat drought, behavior in the event of an explosion,
yeah.
and they list a good load of that there.
So the ones that are not that don't really have the military side, they have there is like fires and stuff like that. For I was a bit surprised when I was reading the one from United Kingdom because I found that there's a lot of information about like yeah, you can call this number and you have if you have gas utilities can this is how you check if you are on the priority list and stuff like that. But it
That's
was more
another issue we have to go through.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it was more like how to do stuff and less to do with why, or less with the scenarios when is it needed. So I think our brochure and some of the others, they lean more heavily into like scenarios when it's needed and what to getting to think about something. So with the United Kingdom one, maybe the example where the least information about possible scenarios, more like it's more
without
like
yeah,
only like the yellow pages. I mean, like oh, these are the phone numbers you need to call. So just the information and it's good to have this
basic
stuff at
information.
home. Yes, and good to have this stuff at home, but not when can you. It doesn't tell a story in the same way as the Swedish brochure does, for example.
No,
The
it's
Swedish brochure
very,
does
very
really
basic. The
it's
English
like
one is the old
storytelling.
2018, you said the English one was brought out. Was it 18 or was it 14?
Which one?
The English one?
There is an English one that's what was on PDF that you sent me that I
Yep,
found earlier. It's from
that's
2004.
4. Oh god,
But
even.
but
Okay,
and so that's
that's 2 years.
I think
Really
that's
basic.
yeah, that's
Very basic.
considered old. And the website, I clicked around on the website, and then I also used a summarizing tool to help me.
It's hmgovernment.co.uk.
Yeah, and yeah. I kind of lack the. I guess different people work in different ways. I kind of need like a story, something to hang it up on. We say in Sweden, something to attach it to when that not might not be some scenario to work from, and that might not be the scenario that will happen, but you can. It's kind of like a plan is nothing but planning is everything. If you plan for a scenario, like a bigger scenario, then you can apply that stuff even if it doesn't fit your plan really. So I feel like I like the brochures more that have this. They have some scenarios to put it on. Maybe they're not detailed scenarios, but they are saying something. Like, for instance, they're talking about the air raid alarm here in Sweden. That this is how the air raid alarm sounds, and if there's an air, I mean, there's not going to be a fleet of bombers coming here, but we could have we could, if in case of war, we could have like
Drone?
drones or cruise missiles or something like that, like they have in Ukraine. So the same thing applies, even though it's called an air raid alarm. But so yeah, I think some of these countries need to work on their brochures in like making them more easily to digest.
Yeah, there was a thing spoken about a few years ago with my country. There is a brochure coming out now in the next few weeks, so that's why we're bringing this issue up as well, because it is news on the news again here. They didn't give out brochures normally until there was something in the wind. The thing about that was people would get a brochure in the post, they'd look at it, next thing is put on the shelf, and they forget where it is. They don't read it, and they only look for it when something happens. So
Yeah,
now what they're trying to do is get the interest via radio or TV and say, "Now there's your brochure, get it, read it, study it, bring it to bed, and just take note of a few key points." And that's basically what we're always at. We're always telling people key points, just remember the basics. They're all the same. It doesn't matter what kind of emergency it is. They're all in the same ballpark. If you're gonna lose your house, that's a bug out scenario. If you're gonna stay in your house and you're gonna have tremendous weather, hurricane, flood, 20 feet of snow, all of that is the same kind of thing. Is your house gonna collapse? Yes, no. You have to make them decisions. So that's what we are here to kind of bring to the table and trying to get people aware of what to do. Because I have had people come up to me and said their house is flooded. What do I do now with my flooded house?
yeah,
As if I'm an expert, but I'm only able to advise. Yeah, we're only advisors, and the only advice I could say to them was get your most valuable possessions, get them either high in the house unless it's going to flood to the roof, no, but it did flood to the first floor.
yeah,
So that happened 3 times in 1 month in the month of January here. So the most valuable possessions I would put in my house, and they're on the ground floor, 160 meters above flood level, so I'm okay. But I have a filing cabinet full of stuff, and I would be absolutely lost without it. We have all our records, our taxes in there, marriage certificates, birth certificates, parent certificates, all of the stuff, your insurance, all of that important stuff where you keep it normally. People have said to me after these flooding events, and I'll stick to flooding because that's what's common in my area, is one woman when I came to her house to redo her electrics, she was crying to me. She said, I don't mind about the kitchen table and I don't mind about the cooker and the fridge. My filing cabinet was on the bottom floor and all of my files were destroyed. And that's all she was crying about. She was actually crying, and I can see where she's coming from. So that is key piece of advice I can give. Get
yeah.
your personal stuff out of there, make USB copies, give them away to your family and friends, and leave them in a safe place. How easy is that?
Yeah, and so this is something I'm a big proponent of. I used to be an avid amateur photographer. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about backup systems, and you should have all documents and like files and stuff like that are really important to you. You should have in 3 copies, and uh, in at least 2 different geographical locations. So, for instance, you can have say like your filing cabinet. You can also have you could copy them to a USB or a hard drive, and you can upload them to like a cloud service. So that would be 2 different locations because you have one digital and one analog copies at your place, and then you have like a digital copy in the cloud. So that's two different geographical locations. So if your house burns down, you have the cloud storage left.
Yeah.
And another way of going about it is like you would say you would have like two different USB memories or like hard drives, and you would take one to your workplace, and then every month or third month or something, you exchange the hard drive. So you at most you would lose a couple of months of information. So that's if like cloud storage and like sending over distance is not an option. If it is, you could have like a NAS station somewhere that you connected to the internet. But network attached storage. So I think this is really important. I have digital copies of the most important stuff and also in paper. Then I have copies in different places. So I have local copies and I have copies in the cloud. And I mean, this is especially important if you have like your phone and you have a lot of photos that is really important to you. I mean, you drop your phone and you crack the screen, and even if it's fine, they say, oh, they will not maybe fix your screen. They will give you a new phone or a refurbished phone, and they will, just because of convenience to them. So you get a refurbished phone. So then it's important that you don't have all these files on only your phone, because then they're gone.
Yeah. Well, people are people treat their phones like mega computers, and they're seriously expensive this weather for
Yeah.
everybody has a phone in their hand 100 times a day, easily. I do it
Yeah.
myself. They even say you should detox before you go to bed by an hour. I can't even manage that, so I'm always checking my messages and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
really hard. It's really hard.
But it is like that. If you lost your phone, what are you going to do? Do you have a spare phone to back up? And say something mad happened in the world, is that something that you'd be able to replace within a day? I mean, I did
Yeah.
have backup phones, and then I went to look at them one day, batteries completely flat, the SIM cards had run out of their I got extra SIM cards with credit on them, and sure then there's a statute of limitations on them, so the phone wouldn't work, or the SIM card wouldn't work. I ended up giving one to my niece because it was well out of date, so all that kind of stuff has to be updated as well, so which is fine.
Yeah.
That's not a big issue either,
So
if you can
so
do it.
Yeah. So and this flood thing. I mean, my parents had a flooding of their basement, and it's. I think people most of the time think like, oh yeah, but I'm gonna have time. No, you don't. They just woke up and it was like a meter of water in
Yeah.
the basement.
Yes. Yeah, you were
Mm.
telling me about that. That has to be soul destroying when something like that happens. And I'm looking at the TV of the reports of the people coming in here with the flooded damage to the houses. Wow, I can only imagine how hard it is to have a flooded house. You know, I can't understand it. Oh, and then we have the advent of, if they all want electric cars. Electric cars don't work great in floods. It's just doesn't isn't they're not compatible.
Oh.
So I mean, I have to rethink that part as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Electric cars and water do not mix.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think maybe we are about on the end here. I don't
are
know.
we
What
at
do you say, Frank? Or shall
oh, yeah,
we?
geez, we're right
Do
up
you
on
do you
time.
have something more you want to say
Well,
about these?
I think they're going to push him hard now shortly, because I think Europe is afraid of something happening as well. We all feel something's coming, but we nobody can put their finger on it. So why are they pushing the books and the preparedness modules? We don't know. We're sure we can only guess and summarize. Anyway, people, please don't forget to subscribe and give us the thumbs up on the page, because subscription on this gets us noticed, and we can get more videos out. And again, we're only new, so this is number 10, I think, or 11. And so we're trying, we're getting there. So I think next week we're going to talk about the Lithuanian model. I think we might talk about that next. We can see. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, we will see. I think this will be with the brochures. I think will be a series, but I'm not sure they will come out one after the other, because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now, and we might need to. We might need to put some other topics out first, but
Yeah.
these will get sprinkled in, if you will. these brochure episodes. And also we are looking at the possibilities of having more guests
Yeah.
on our podcast. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that. So with that, I
I
think
bid you adieu.
I think we
Adieu.
are finished for today. And
Mm.
thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. And have a discussion with us in Prep in Europe and in Irish survivalist groups and even in the radio Prepper network where we hang around all the time. And is there a brochure that we are missing, for instance, or a website from a country that we are missing? We would very much
Obviously,
like to have this. So we are looking forward to the Irish one coming out, and I'm hoping. There should be more brochures than this, but they might be in languages that I don't understand, so I haven't found them.
Yeah.
Could be like that. So please tell us if we are missing any brochures, and we will add them to this and add them to our future episodes when we are talking about them. So Thank you.
Thank you. Sign off.
And we'll sign off, and we'll talk to you
Cheers.
next time. Goodbye.